less cologne next time.
Yes, dear.
So yeah, I really enjoyed the movie. Actually, I think Renny Harlin still makes a great action flick. And I thought it was really well shot, and I especially liked that you and Aaron, as the movie goes on, as you guys get beaten up, you can kind of still see like you're just kind of looking more and more beaten up as the film goes on, which I find they never do in action movies, and I kind of appreciated that in this one.
No, it's true. Yeah. I remember like when I was on Vampire Diaries back in the day, we would have like crazy situations and I'd be like, well, I'd probably have a lot of cuts though, right? And they're like, yeah, but we can't, like, we can't do anything. I'm like, but what do you mean? Like, that doesn't make any sense. So, or there's that famous one, right? From World War Z. Do you remember what I'm talking about?
No, yeah, I know the movie, but yeah, what's the thing?
Well, Brad Pitt's in like the plane crash. Remember with the zombies in the plane fully crashes,
Yeah,
and
in
then
Israel, yeah.
he like wakes up in a chair in a tree, but his hair is like tucked behind his ear. And you're like, to like show his face, and you're like, come on, guys. But I mean, it's a beautiful face, so I get it. But yeah, we definitely get pretty beat up in this film, and I agree with you that Rennie did a fantastic job as he always does. He's like the action king, and I recently watched Cliffhanger.
Oh, great movie.
Good Rennie movie. Really entertaining film. But yeah, he really does it. He just knows exactly what to do in every scenario. He's so confident. He's so excited. He knows what he wants, and he's very fast too. Like working with him is amazing because he just like gets the shot, he gets what he needs, and then he moves on and doesn't drag it out. But he's got like drones in the air. He's got like 16 cameras here. Like you think you're shooting this scene, but he's got a whole other crew over there shooting something else. Like he's on it.
Well, I mean, one of the things I like about him too is just that you can see the action in his movies. Everybody shoots everything so dark these days, but his aesthetic is actually kind of visually pleasing. It actually looks great, kind of no matter what way you watch it, because that always drives me insane when I watch an action movie when you can't decipher the action.
Totally. No, and that's the DP too. We had a really incredible DP who worked really well.
So I wanted to ask you about your action scenes in the movie, because I was actually a Vampire Diary fan, but the action style is very different in this movie than that. And I mean, I've seen you in movies like Triple X and stuff, but I think this is the first time I saw you in kind of like almost like a Bourne type situation, right? And I thought you did really well in the action scenes. I like the way they did it. I thought they kind of made them somewhat grounded too and realistic, that this analyst who was in the CIA, of course, could actually know these moves. And I was wondering if you could talk to me a bit about that, because I thought you did a great job.
Thank you. Yeah, I had a lot of fun with it. I wish I had more. I always wish I had more.
The sequel.
Yeah, well, fingers and toes crossed. But yeah, I mean, I grew up in a household with an older brother and a dad who loved 90s and early 2000s action films. So, you know, I just I joked with them because the rules in Europe are a little bit looser than they are in the US. And so I think Aaron and a few of the other actors had like legit big action sequences with fighting sequences, but my character didn't have that much. So I sort of learned everything on the day. Like I didn't have rehearsals. They were just like, all right, now you're gonna shoot a gun. And I was like, okay, you're lucky that I actually know how to shoot guns because I've done previous training for other things. And I've fought my brother for 15 years growing up. So I actually know how to defend myself. So I like actually knew how to do certain, and I picked up on the choreography very quickly. But I'm glad that you liked it and that you noticed that. But yeah, I want to do more. I
mean, I could totally see you in an action movie, like an Atomic Blonde type thing.
Yeah, I mean, my dream would be to be obviously like a Bond villain or
really?
a girl or so
you'd rather play a villain than hero, though. That's kind of interesting.
I could do both. I don't discriminate against. I
They're
think
both fun, I imagine.
But I recently watched the last Mission Impossible, and I'm friends with Palm, who's the villain in that film, and so yeah, I think it would be a dream of mine to work with Tom Cruise in one of his. Oh, keep him coming, Tom. Let's do
Oh,
one
just
together.
but the train stuff at the end is just, yeah.
Insane.
I met him once, and it was like being in the presence of like I barely even speak. It was just this legend who I grew up watching as a child and just loved so much. It was crazy. He is
Yeah.
awesome. I thought though Aaron Eckhart was really cool in this movie too. I liked him. I like an action hero that is kind of vulnerable. I don't like it when they won't take a hit on screen. That always is something that drives me nuts. And he is more human, I think, in this film. So yeah, what
Yeah,
was it like working with
and
him?
he's retired. Like he's a retired operative in this
Pretty good
film.
shape though.
Pretty good shape, but he still gets beat up.
Yeah.
He's not like Superman. He's not a Marvel character. He's a real person, and he's a real person of a certain age. And so, when, like you said, we get beat up, but when he gets hurt, he then has a limp, and it's a little bit harder to do the next scene. It's a little bit harder to recover and punch in the next moment. And so, I agree. I liked that Rennie really grounded it as much as possible.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's being the pro though that he is. I mean, he is really truly one of the great action directors. I don't know if you've ever seen Long Kiss Goodnight, but that movie is, I think, one of the best action films ever made.
Yeah,
Um,
I agree.
so okay, what was it? Well, I mean, I also really liked the locations though. Like, I thought it was cool that you guys shot in Greece, because I mean, that's another thing. You don't necessarily always see movies that are shot there too, and it's not on a green screen, and it's like real like reality.
Yeah, I mean, we definitely the book that the movie is based on was not set in Greece. That's something that we changed because I think that's where we decided to shoot the movie. So they rewrote the script to make Greece one of the characters in the film in a
Yeah.
lot of ways. And I agree that that was a really interesting, different visual choice that is more appealing just because it's unique. And selfishly more fun to shoot.
I'll bet.
Typical locations. I had a blast. I love shooting there.
Yeah, well, no, I mean, just because there's stuff that you see in that movie that you don't, because every movie, it seems like every big Hollywood action movie, they always shoot in kind of the same places, like the places where they can get, I guess, their tax credits. But this was kind of interesting because I just can't remember the last movie that was shot in Greece as Greece, and I thought that was kind of
Probably
neat.
Mamma Mia.
Oh, really? Yeah, a little, yeah. Some ABBA would have been cool. So one thing I always ask my people when I'm interviewing them is that this movie, I love a double bill. We love double bills at the website. If you were to pair this movie with something that you think it would be excellent on a double bill with, what would you put with?
I mean, selfishly I'd say Barbie just so that we would get the numbers. Because if you had to watch Barbie and then watch us, then we'd be $1 billion movie too. That'd be nice. But no, I don't know. I don't like something that's out now.
That's
also
actually not a bad double bill though, because I think that
Barbie
an
Heimer or
action movie
whatever.
go well.
But like
Sorry,
Brickheimer. No,
Bookheimer.
Bar Brick. Remember Barbheimer or whatever? They like so Bar Brick.
Bar Brick, that'd be great.
I'm just trying to think like of movies that are out right now.
Or any action movie, like a favorite action movie.
Oh, it'd have to be an action movie.
Yeah, and it could be anything. If you were at home, you were going through your Blu-rays, you were on streaming, what would you choose?
Blu-rays, LOL.
We're old school.
I love it. Hold on, I'm actually thinking of it. Well, I just watched that movie last night. The Julia Roberts. Well, actually, I fell asleep because I had to be up early for press this morning. So don't spoil the ending for me. But the Leave the World Behind.
Oh yeah, it's great. Yeah, I won't spoil the ending.
So far, so good. Really into it. So maybe that one. I don't know.
Excellent.
I'm a big believer that you shouldn't watch 2 movies in one day because
Really?
it's. I'm getting old and I'm falling asleep. Like I can't. I don't have the energy to watch 2 films. I like barely get through one.
Well, no, that's a great answer. I mean, I really enjoyed it though. I thought it was really well done. One last question for you though. In terms of action movies these days, you mentioned Marvel before. It does seem like that was something that was kind of dominating the industry, but is kind of slowly receding a little bit because I think people are kind of getting sick of the comic book thing being done over and over again. As an actor, as somebody who's making a movie like this, What is more interesting to you, though? Being in this kind of far out fantasy world where it's kind of completely made up, or do you prefer something that's a little bit more reality based? Because I mean, you've done both. You've done Vampire Diaries, which had a great fantasy kind of mythology behind it, but then you've also done, really realistic stuff too, including Degrassi even.
Yeah, I don't think that it's one or,
Mm,
I really, as an actor at least, like to, the variety is what's so appealing to me in
sure.
this industry and in this profession. And so getting to do both worlds and dip a toe into each world is what's interesting to me personally. And it keeps things fresh. I don't get bored. Um, I think if you're only doing action movies, or Marvel movies, it anything that you do too much. I mean, being on a TV show for 6 to 9 years is everything eventually loses its sort of freshness. And so um, I like having the option of doing both. And someone asked me this earlier, and I also really like, if I had to pick one, maybe to have like a home base, I think it would be comedies.
Really? Yeah. Well, you are great in comedies, though. You're actually very funny. Yeah.
Thank you. I have a lot of fun doing them, but it's also just like energetically like light, and it's a good reset because
Sure.
go and do something like the Bricklayer that's like darker and action and physical and crazy, and then you do a comedy and sort of just like,
Nice to do the
relax for a
Outlaws
second.
afterwards and have some fun.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then you do a serious drama, and then you come back to a comedy, then you go do a period piece and you come back to a comedy. It's just like a good little like home base to have.
Oh, well, thank you so much for your time. I really enjoyed talking to you, and I did really enjoy the movie. So have a wonderful day, and thank you very much.
Appreciate that. Have a wonderful day too.
Bye.